Oh, we're actually recording this time.
Hey. Yes. Sure. We do have the same sheet, but. Sure, pass it.
So you stop. I was gonna say that there's the non-like transportation.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
That's a lot. Yeah.
Did you see my newsletter about tracks, weekend tracks?
Yeah, okay, I saw the email and then I did not read it.
They're going back to 15 minutes on weekends.
Okay.
In August.
Yeah, I think the bus was there, not the tracks.
I did not see that.
I'm Cindy Columbus. I have three properties on Securities in the I'm a business.
That's cheaper and on 675 South 500 East, right off of that church.
I'm Austin Taylor, resident in the neighborhood at about 7 South Northeast.
Ironhead, also resident in the neighborhood, as we all are, I guess. I live at the corner of 6 South and 50 East.
Allison Smith, resident of the neighborhood. I live at 4 East between 8 and 9 South. I forgot to live. I live on 425 Cottage Avenue, which is 640 South. I'm just right next to the park. Just conference room. Yes.
Oh, it's meeting room, there's conference room.
Oh.
But are you for Central City Council?
I think so.
Is there two?
No, I'm just, there's a development.
Oh, the Overland.
Yeah.
They canceled tonight.
Oh, that is.
Yeah, but you're looking to stay.
Yeah, you should still stay if you live in the Central City boundaries. Where do you live?
Well, it's just that, so my sister's family has property adjacent. You know, in
The older condo building right to the north of it?
the west.
Okay. Yeah, they're not presenting tonight because they're revising the sidewalk.
Oh,
Yeah, that was like last week.
Yeah.
Okay, very sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Oh, there's another.
You want to introduce?
So, well, I actually work in Central City, along with other parts of Salt Lake. So I'm now like part of Central City's council, but other councils as well. So I just kind of come in and give everyone updates on how it's going.
Great. I'm Sarah. I work with NeighborWorks Salt Lake. We just make a point to be at each community council meeting this month. Stay informed, stay connected with the city. And yeah, I'm happy to share more about NeighborWorks in 20. Thank you. Hi everybody, I'm Jenny Provo. I serve in the House of Representatives and my district goes to 400 South. So many of you are just outside my district, but Central City is a fundamental, very important part of the heart of my district. And I'm just excited to be able to join you in person today. For the last couple of months, just a month ago. So it's covering. You're putting on the spot.
Yeah, I'm Kyle Urban. I'm the transportation planner with Salt Lake City here to talk about the 500 East Resurface project this summer.
I am Jeff, also transportation division here with Kyle.
Thanks for joining us. You're the only ones who can pass it tonight.
We've hacked the agenda for other stuff.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for introducing yourselves. Where would, Austin, should we start with,
City updates?
would you like to? Is it okay if I? Yeah. I know we can meeting, so you have to go and jump in. I am gonna, I'm no longer. Who else needs this?
Yeah, if you sign in, you're gonna get on it, you know, just like.
For the benefit of people attending online, if it has.
There's only 8 of them. You can be like, you know.
Hey, can you hear me okay? Did you want me to introduce myself or? Sorry, it's a little hard to hear, but I heard my name. And then everyone turned to the screen.
Yeah, just introduce yourself, name and what you're doing.
Perfect. I'm Ava Lopez, and apologies I can't be there in person. I just flew back from vacation in Jamaica. So if I look a little tan on the screen, it's because I did get a tan. I needed sunlight, and so I'm so happy to come back to a snowy Salt Lake, but a sunny Salt Lake. But I'm actually one of your neighbors. I live in East Central, so I live in the district, and I serve as your community liaison in District 4. I also serve in District 2. So thanks, and I'll give my report. I believe someone else was presenting, but if not, I can go ahead.
Hi, it's Jen.
Hey, yeah, I was like, was it someone presenting?
I'm going to stand closer to the computer so you can hear me if you need, just in case. And then
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. So you can't see me, but you can hear me. It's nice to see you, and your tan is lovely. So as I said, I'm Jen Daly Provo. Please call me Jen, or most people, a lot of people call me JDP as well. So if you hear me referenced that way, I have a hyphenated last name and it's a mouthful. Happy to be here. We finished the 2023 general session a month ago yesterday. And if you're following policy, policy this year, it was a tough session, and I don't want to spend a ton of time rehashing a lot of the bills of concern because I did go over a couple when I was last with you in person. I know Representative Briscoe attends meetings and has probably given some updates on a lot of what was going on at the session. As a politician, I could talk for hours. I don't want to take up your entire meeting. There are a lot of important things that our community councils do. It's a really fundamental piece of what makes Salt Lake City such a special city and a special place to live. And so I'm grateful to you all for being here and being engaged. I really like this setting. This is a lot more intimate, and being able to do the online is great as well. Some of the things that I think are most important to our community, our downtown community, that we did accomplish, and there were a lot of things that I philosophically think were bad about this last session, but moving forward, trying to see the positive in what we did accomplish. The legislature did appropriate a combination of one-time ongoing funding over $75 million to address our homelessness crisis, which is far and away the most the legislature has devoted. It's a combination of funding mechanisms and programs. Some of it is to build affordable housing, permanent affordable housing for very, very low AMI people, but not just to provide housing, but to provide the wraparound services that come with a lot of the needs that are not currently being addressed for people, for our unsheltered community members. There will be, there's also funding for rental assistance and emergency assistance and emergency assistance for things like utilities. And so we tried really hard to come at it from a multi-pronged approach. I hope it starts to help. I hope we start to see that curve bend, because it seems like, we're spending so much time and energy trying to fix the problem downstream that we're not getting anywhere upstream. And I'm hoping that some of the efforts that we're making will show some really positive results going forward, so that the legislature as a whole stays vested in continuing to support that and to invest in a better future for everybody who lives in Salt Lake and in our state. I think many people, especially people that live downtown, will agree the state legislature has for far too long considered homelessness a Salt Lake City problem, and it absolutely is not. We're the ones most dealing with the problem. But there seems to be a philosophical shift in this being more of a state issue, and so I personally, many of my colleagues will be tracking this really closely and looking at some accountability measures and making sure that we're putting more investment where good things are happening and maybe redirecting if we're not getting the results that we necessarily wanted to. Almost $100 million for the Great Salt Lake and the drought, and it's really, really hard to think about mega drought with the snow the last few days. I mean, the good news is because of the snowpack, none of the state is currently in mega drought any longer. We're still in drought. So please continue to do what you can, but we are going to make in the next year, next several years, some really good progress in addressing a lot of the areas in the state where we're wasting water. And a lot of it comes with water waste in agriculture. I mean, there's no question when you drive around and see those water cannons spraying water, that a lot of that is being lost. And so we're investing heavily in helping our agricultural community invest in more water-wise landscaping to not waste water because they don't want to lose water rights. I know that there's a lot, it's really easy on social media to just say, well, the farmers are wasting all the water, stop farming. I hope you'll agree with me that even as an urban community, we don't want a state that doesn't grow any food. You know, we want locally grown produce as much as we can get of it. Hopefully we're not shipping as much hay to China.
The farmers market is something about our local.
Yeah, right, yeah, right. So, you know, I think there's a good balance that can be struck. And, you know, we also have to remember that it's easy to forget that the vast majority of our state, their economy depends on agriculture. You know, if we shut down every farm in the state, every community outside the Wasatch Front would disappear. So I think we can use that money to do a good job to invest in more ecologically responsible ways to use water, to support our agricultural community, and set a precedent going forward so that our kids and their kids don't have to continually have this problem or wonder why there's no water in the Great Salt Lake and we're all dying of arsenic poisoning, not to be too alarmist about it. Some other really good funding wins. I think there was a really strong push to get funding to redo the roads in the Salt Lake City Cemetery, and after several years of trying to get some state assistance in dealing with that, the state cemetery is actually a state landmark, and there's a lot of important history. It's beautiful. My family and I actually live in the avenues a block away from the cemetery, so I'm really, really excited that the state has felt that they are willing to be a partner in maintaining the cemetery. Personally, I passed 2 bills, and was the House sponsor for a Senate bill. Both the bills that I passed are related to medical cannabis and industrial hemp, so this was my lead year. I actually run, thank you. I work really hard on medical cannabis. I have for a number of years, even before I served in the Utah legislature, and I work with a small cohort of legislators that we are consistently working with stakeholders to update our medical cannabis statute so that it is more responsive to patient needs in the state, especially when we're still really struggling with an increasing opioid crisis. One of them is, well, one of the bills will create a center for medical cannabis research. So we'll have a statewide center for research based at the University of Utah. You work at the University. So I also work at the University of Utah, so I'm a researcher. I'm not a cannabis researcher, but I'm excited about that. And then the Senate bill that Senator Harper was the main sponsor, and I was the floor sponsor on caregiver compensation. So we now have state and federal funding to provide a modest stipend for parents of children with disabilities, minor children and adult children with disabilities, to stay home and take care of their children instead of send them to institutionalized care or to have to quit a job to stay home and lose family income. Not making anybody rich, but it does allow families to stay whole, because it's really, really hard to care for a child with some disability who will always have a permanent disability. And so this is one of best bills that I've ever, it's the second year in a row, second year that Senator Harper and I have worked on policy like this, and this was kind of that last piece that got it to the end. I was catching up, Wednesday's my legislative day, so I was catching up on my emails today, and I got a bunch of emails from parents talking about how much it impacts their children, and I was crying. Reminded me that there is some good to be done in the state of Utah. We have a long way to go, and it is incremental. But I do want you to be aware going forward, that if there are bills and policies that you're interested in supporting and working on, now is the time to start working on these. I get a lot of phone calls, and emails from constituents in like mid-January, a week or so before session starts, like, yeah, I've got a really good bill idea. We start opening bill files in May, and I am already working with drafting attorneys on bills for the next session. So please let us know if you have anything.
So I talked to you about that first thing about getting like those passed for like stricter I guess things for domestic violence and assault, and people that have repeated assault offenses that are going to be systemically jailed. Yeah.
So,
Like overcrowded.
right. Yeah. That one we shouldn't be releasing violent offenders, but maybe not violent offenders. So the good news on that front is that this session, Representative Ivory and several other stakeholders, Representative Angela Romero, who represents her district is just south and west of here, is far and away the state's #1 champion on domestic violence, sexual assault legislation. She has done more work on this than anybody else I know state legislatively. She was really instrumental in this. We passed a really comprehensive package of bills to address the shortage of funding for domestic violence, for victims of domestic violence, and criminal justice reform related to sexual assault and domestic violence.
All of that is on those.
Good, yeah, and so you know it's not solved. This is not me saying don't worry about it, we've done it. Because I would never say that. Until we have no more victims left, we're not done doing the work. But if that is something that you're interested in working on, I will give you my card before you go in. I'm always anxious to figure out more ways that we can do better, where the loopholes are, where we can solve those loopholes, and whether it's me running a bill or us finding somebody like Representative Romero to push.
She's become her, but she's not our area anymore, right?
Her district moved really far
I love
west.
her.
Yeah, she's wonderful. She's the minority leader in the Democratic caucus, and I'm her whip. So she's boss. I'm first general, and this session has been incredible. On
If her she wants to come back, she can come back and she has.
I will let her know. She's very, very good.
Sure, we've got to go on to.
Yep, I'm sorry. See, I told you I'm a politician. I can talk.
Should I get you the newsletter?
I'll leave a handful before I go, and my cell phone number, my email are on those. Text best. I only answer my email once a week outside of session because I have balance it all. So the text is good. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got other city updates. I don't know who's wants to go. Yeah, Ava, do you want to give us the updates? Maybe
Sure.
2
Sure.
minutes, keeping it
That's
short.
great. That's perfect for me. Thank you, Austin. Thanks, everybody. Wanted to quickly announce tomorrow I have my community office hours. That's time that you can come talk to each of the liaisons. So that's publicized on slc.gov on our website, but tomorrow it's at Public Eds from 8 to 10 a.m. So please join us. Public Eds is up here on 13th East and between 200 and 300 South. So if you're able to come join us, oh, excuse me, University Street, not 13th East. But I'd love to see you there. You can come talk about ideas or concerns, anything that you'd like to communicate to the mayor's office. I also wanted to share that we have the second opportunity to apply for ARPA community grants. And these are funds that we receive from the federal government to help for qualifying businesses, nonprofits, and artists. So you can find out more. I've shared this information with the community council. They should have sent it out, but I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat again so we can share that. And this is a great opportunity to apply for different funds if you were affected during COVID, and there's a few other requirements on here. So I can pull that up or talk more, but that talks all about your eligibility here. And then with all the snow, I did want to talk about a little bit about the floodplain maps. You may have seen this in the news. It's actually Salt Lake County that has their floodplain map. But if you look, most of downtown is in it. And you can also pick up sandbags through Salt Lake City. So let me put all those links in here. It's a lot of information, but again, I'm just coming back, so I wanted to pick up some information that's relevant. As far as the sandbag pickup information, let me type that in the chat. That way we can have accurate information. But I do know that was being advertised by the city. So we want folks to prepare and to have a safety plan because it will affect the downtown area. That's all I have for you for today.
Thanks, Ava. We'll be sure to include some of that stuff in the newsletter.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
And 13,
Yeah, we have the heart team, and we have neighbor groups. So,
you want to give us a?
Sure. As well as the engagement response team. Winter O is coming to an end, so the Geraldine King will be transitioning any kind of winter working beds over to clients on a permanent basis, but I believe the Geraldine King is 30th. SLT Mobile, we talk about that all the time. I'm the only one that responds, it goes to me. So hi, when you see a response, it's coming from me. Try, I wish I could be a little bit more fun, like, ooh, I want to get a response from T-Mobile, can't do it. But at any rate, we're gonna be making this cool kind of resource handout because constituents have said, hey, I see someone that's unsheltered and I want to do something and I don't know what I can do. So we're working with our outreach team, and that should be coming out here in the next little bit to coincide with winter overflow. So here's just basic, resources, it's a physical, handout you give to individuals if you so desire. Eva talked about the river. I know we're east of the Jordan River, but we're focusing our team is focusing outreach efforts to people on the river. If you happen to know the west side, maybe look under a bridge, put it on SLC Mobile, we plot it on a map. Very important because obviously those individuals might not have access to the latest flooding information. So if you see something, report it, please. And the last thing I'll say for best is we have been working closely with Federal City Community Council, with a lot of different entities on a Topper Car block party that's going to be Saturday, May 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're going to have flyers printed out and be all professional. But for right now, just know that it's a community event that we're all putting on together. There's going to be something for everyone. There'll be food trucks. There'll be all sorts of different entertainment. There'll be services. There'll be education. So we're trying to make Central City the nicest part of Salt Lake City, and for this to be a model to go forward to other districts, especially the other district D5. So please, everyone, just kind of make a mental note, and we'll be canvassing, we'll be putting up flyers and all that, but Saturday, May 13th at 10 to 3, 10 to 3,
And then neighbor works. Give an update.
Hi guys. So a few things from NeighborWorks. For those of you who don't know what NeighborWorks is, we are a nonprofit operating in Salt Lake County. We do a lot of work in neighborhood revitalization, helping overcome barriers to home ownership and resident leadership. So just some updates. Right now, we're encouraging people to look into our down payment assistance and home improvement loans. We have a lot of funding available right now. Our down payment assistance, I don't remember the exact number, but I think up to $20,000 to $50,000. It's a 5-year forgivable loan, so 20% forgiven every year for 5 years. We are recruiting for our summer youth works cohort, so that's high school age students. It'll be a 15-week program. They'll do like job readiness skills and leadership skills. Another update, we are currently recruiting for our annual Paint Your Heart Out event. That will take place in August, and it's an opportunity to get your house painted for free, effectively. Right now, we're looking for houses to be painted. So I think the qualifications are like over the age of 65, disability, living with someone with a disability, and there's a few other ones that are on our website that I don't remember off the top of my head. But we are encouraging people to recommend a house or recommend your own house if you wanted to get painted by a team in August. So that's the big things we have kind of moving down the pipeline, and I'm happy to answer any other questions about what we do in those programs.
Can we get your email address and turn this into this?
Yeah, absolutely. Mine is Sarah, so SARAH at nwsaltleak.org.
Okay, well, I'll reach out and ask you about this program.
Great.
Thanks. Is that it for city updates? Okay, we've got a presentation about streets later, but let's do, so committee updates, we'll breeze through these super quickly. The first is we want to talk about the tree at Topper Park, and this is part of the events committee. You wanna talk about it, Brianna, the tree?
Sure, I can just briefly talk about it.
Yeah,
So those of you who might be familiar with Topper Park, where I encourage you to visit, there is, it's called the Virgin Mary tree, and it's on 7th South and 3rd East. And it's been there, I don't know how long it's been there. But people go, at one point, they thought they could see the face of the Virgin Mary in the street. And so it's become kind of a shrine. But over the years, it's also been vandalized, and there's a little stairwell going up to the tree, and that's become
A urinal?
well, we are all wondering if there's better ways to memorialize that tree, if there's a big plaque and the tree, or we're just looking for ideas on what to do with it.
Austin.
But, sorry?
Oh, apologies. I thought you were done.
Oh, no, sorry. Just looking for ideas, for that tree, so.
If I may, I do have an update on the tree because I've been working with my colleague on city council on that.
Yeah.
Thanks. We have permission from the diocese to basically look at different options. I don't want to reveal too much because I need to speak with our arborists, but basically that tree, I think we're pretty aware, the city is aware that it's not in a healthy condition or state. But that being said, we're looking at those options. So, looking at, is it a tree that can be saved and remove those staircases? But I did want to give that update. I've kind of given that update before, but we do have official permission that the church doesn't recognize the Catholic Church doesn't recognize it as a type of a shrine or religious iconology.
Well, yeah, we knew that, that it's not designated as a shrine, so the
Right.
Catholic Church doesn't say, but I think the suggestion that the urban forester, Tony was not evaluated. And we will have information about expectations for lifespan. Yeah.
Sorry. Well, if anybody has any suggestions or wants to go take a look at it.
I'm thinking about putting up the sign by the tree for people to walk up regularly, saying, hey, we love your info on this, what do you think about it? So we get people to actually physically come there.
Yeah, because there are still people that visit it, there's flowers still there, there's candles still there, so it is important.
We kind of surveyed, but we didn't get a lot of response on it, so we want to.
That's good.
Yes, can you help me that? Sure.
That's great.
Okay. The other thing is that there might be an opportunity on the 13th of May, we've got a lot of input. So that would be, I mean, it's not that far away.
can assign someone at that event to just walk around with the survey and ask.
Okay, another town volunteer suggestion, I just emailed them today.
Then they can stand at the tree.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
ask. I think that's cool. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So, River Rock update. Our last monthly meeting with the owners and management of River Rock. They've been working very hard to get the right tenants in there. Again, this is like a 350-ish unit affordable housing complex. They want to make sure that people who deserve the housing and treat it well are getting that benefit of subsidized housing. And so, unfortunately, that means a lot of evictions. They've done about 20 evictions per month in the last quarter, 2 quarters. So it's a tough job. And all those evictions are related to criminal activity.
They need renters.
They need evictions. So they're sitting at, I think it's like 20% vacancy right now, which is incorrect. In Salt Lake City, most rentals are like 2% vacant. So to have a place that's 20% vacant is pretty crazy. A lot of that's due to its reputation. A lot of law-abiding people who need affordable housing know that that's a place where crime happens and they don't feel safe.
So we're trying to change the rep. We've been working on this since the summer to make it a better place and continue that effort, but we want to refer people, good people who live there that are law abiding and,
Yeah.
on the other hand.
So if you guys know people who need affordable housing, they have a ton of vacancies and their AMI ranges, area median income, are between 30 and 80%. So a lot of people fit in that range from like really low income to basically a middle class person. A lot of people can afford to live in there. So
Crossroads Urban Centers contact information. When they was the Crossroads.
yeah, could you email me?
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. They, they're searching for tenants through Housing Connect, through, different affordable housing websites. They use a housing corporation that did all the places, but that'd be good.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Good.
Send people that way.
Send good people.
Cool.
Send good people.
Cool. Yeah. It's called the River Rock.
Used to be called Park Place in the center.
Do we know what their rent range is?
You can find that once.
Yeah, so it's just 30% of your income.
Okay.
And because it's subsidized, because it's low income housing, if your income falls within that 30 to 80% range, which I don't know off the top of my head, the area median income is 90, so take 30% of 90 or 80% of 90. If you make between that, then you qualify, and then you only have to pay a third for the rent. So it can be a huge blessing for the people who need it.
Okay.
90 is for no, that's
More than anything.
yeah, that's more than that's like a finance.
We're asking too many questions for right now.
I need to get my Excel spreadsheet out.
We don't want to do that.
You can find out where it is. We don't have to.
Yeah, but just moral of the story is a lot of people fall for it. So if you need someone, if you know someone who needs them their way, they have totally vacancies. Next is crime and safety. Did you want to advertise your neighborhood watch?
Well, I guess official,
Neighborhood watch?
watch, thank you. And, we want people that are interested in, various people, all this rotating, like going to Tapper Park, Richmond Park, doing like, group patrols and walkthroughs, picking up trash, watching for things, documenting. I need to find out more how the neighborhood watch works officially, because there's some stuff where we may have to pay a fee, we may not have to pay a fee. There's all the stuff I need to find out to know better, but, is there anyone here that would be interested in your area, depending on what the neighborhood watch area would be streetwise, that really wants to focus on that and is down for crime fighting?
And then the first step for any what you said in our meeting before is like, Detective Stewart, she wants to do a training.
Yes, yes.
So anyone who is interested in being on the neighborhood watch could be a part of that training. Getting training from our police detective.
Yes, and she'll be able to.
So I don't live in this area, but I'm very work in this area. I can really know about I live right now in Missouri, but I work
Okay.
in here.
Ready, I'll find out what it is.
Yeah, I can help with them or what as well.
So,
Yeah, for your business, that would be fun.
but me, I'm sure I'd be interested in training. and stuff.
Or you could also, since we're, surveying Google, rock, you could also use that.
Yeah, you
Yes.
that's a lot quicker too.
I'll get some flyers and some, things to put up right now. Get that whole plan of training, because we want people kind of spread out on different streets. We don't want like a cluster of a whole bunch of lines that we want. Eyes, ears everywhere.
That's like good, because like I can just kind of roam around.
Yeah, you'll be a roaming
Yeah, I'll be.
or floater. So
Yeah.
Anyone else interested in
Yeah, anyone else
figuring
interested in?
it out? Let's see, like, see how you.
I know that now, but that's, they probably will. I'll get, since they can't come tonight. Let's just share them. They're big enough for that.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. We'll move on to ACE grant events. You wanna talk about
So just really quick, we qualify, or we were awarded $1,000, for, to have a party in one of the parks in Central City. So, we are going to plan something hopefully in the fall and at Richmond Park. And the details are still being worked out, so.
To be determined.
And then last one is, we talked about committees, and, last meeting, or forming committees. So we have committees for transportation, private safety, zoning enforcement, that kind of stuff. We have someone that's really experienced community council organizer who would like to come and train committee leaders. And so he's looking at 2 different dates.
April 18th or April 20th.
18th or 20th, and I know Byron, you're gonna lead the transportation committee. Did anyone else volunteer to lead the committee? Here, yeah, what was your committee? Here. Being part of it, okay, and I think you two were also, right?
So we know that's not fresh chicken.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah. I mean, you guys are welcome to join if you'd like, but I think it's most important that Byron's at that meeting, so. Did one of those 2 dates work best for you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in my house. Okay. We'll work out, we'll get that out. We'll see what works for my house. Okay. Cool, so now, why don't we just skip the small business spotlight?
Well, should I just do a quick thing that I was there? So we went to Casa Pizzeria, on, was it Second South and Second East and had a lovely time. They are amazing there. If you want to check it out, great food, great service, very knowledgeable. I just haven't got a hold of the owner yet, but they were so hospitable. I recommend it. And I'm gonna he's gonna put the stuff in the newsletter regarding that. We have a menu and everything and some pictures and whatnot, but we were supposed to have him here, but so hopefully in the future, the next business spotlight, I'm sure it'll be a little more organized. They will actually be present.
Yeah, if any of you have a business in the neighborhood, we want to feature your business.
Please let me know.
Awesome. Okay, and now we move on to 500 East Street.
Just gonna stand up on the podium.
Sounds good. And 15 minutes, if that sounds good.
Yeah, probably only take like 10 minutes, open it up for questions and such. I'm Kyle Irvin, I'm the transportation planner with Salt Lake City. Thank you so much for giving us your time tonight. Our streets division, they resurface about 155 lane miles of Salt Lake City roads annually. And on a handful of those roads each year, the transportation division likes to do striping layout changes. Because during the surface treatment project, this is not a full-blown roadway reconstruction, it just comes through and resurface the road. It extends the life of the road roughly 5 to 7 years. But it presents a great opportunity for us to make striping changes. This project is scheduled sometime in the summer. We'll know more about the specific details soon. They have to be really flexible with equipment breakdowns and weather and stuff like that. So we try to be as flexible as possible with them. The project limits of this is on 5th East from 9th South to roughly 450 South. The surface treatment itself will only be happening from 9th South to 600 South, but we're going to try to restripe from 600 South up to 450 South. That's gonna require some paint removal, but so the overall limits will be 9 south and 42 south. This is a chip seal, and what you can expect is roughly like 3 days of construction, where they're gonna shut down the street in the morning, come in and resurface. They lay down like a layer of oil and then come in with like the small pea gravel style stuff, coat the road. They open up the street again for a day or two to let the initial surface set up, and then 2 days later they come back and they lay down the final coat of layer, turn the pavement black again, and then they come in and restripe. So pretty, they try to be flexible. If you have like business needs or concerned about access to your driveway and stuff, just I can provide you their contact information. They're flexible about that kind of stuff. Like I said, it's not a full-blown reconstruction, and so we have limited opportunity to modify like things like signage and other elements of the roadway. It's simply a resurfacing project. And so on 4th East on this section, it's currently a 4-lane cross section, meaning 2 vehicle travel lanes in each direction and then parking on each side of the road. And there are areas with pretty deep gutters there. Yeah, kind of sketchy gutters. Yeah. And so our proposed changes are to do what's called a road diet, where we can convert a 4-lane road into a 3-lane road. This gives you additional space to add things like buffered bike lanes. You can typically widen the parking on the sides of the roads as well, and which will be helpful with those gutters. However, it does require the removal of 1 vehicle travel lane in each direction. So it would be 1 vehicle travel lane in each direction, and then a buffered bike lane, meaning there's going to be 2 stripes, typically 2 feet or so, to give you some buffer between the vehicle travel lanes and the bikes, and then parking on each side, and then a center two-way turn lane in the middle. This is shown to reduce crashes anywhere between 20 and 50%, primarily left turn and rear end crashes because of that dedicated center turn lane. It provides opportunities for bike lanes, improves walkability as well, because there's fewer lanes of traffic for pedestrians to cross, and those traffic lanes are pushed out further into the center of the street. And so it reduces that conflict point a little bit on right turns. And it also regulates speed and calms traffic. For example, if you've got someone going the speed limit and someone's speeding behind them, having cars in a single lane kind of just like forces more people to go the speed limit. And then the reason why we are doing this is to provide a bike connection to the new 9-line trail that we finished this summer. And then we are trying to restripe all the way up to 450 South so that we can provide connections to that 5th South bike lane as well. The vehicle volume threshold for this type of conversion, where you need 2 lanes in each direction, is typically at 10,000 cars per day. And we're currently at roughly 6,700, so we're very confident that this is not going to cause a bunch of traffic. We have a website. It's www.slc.gov/mystreet, and I can give you the specific URL to the project page. We're working on making a short link and stuff, and you can always follow us at SLC News on Facebook and Twitter for more information. Jeff, do you have anything to add?
Good job.
Yeah.
So, some of the neighbors have made a grammar request you might have heard about for the intersection of 600 South and 500 East, which has an average of a serious accident, 1 fatality over the study period of 5 years. And so we are very interested in getting some attention to that intersection, and as I inquired, it sounds like very tragic, but anything you can do to make that safer. The recommendation is that we go for some CIP money, and that's the education committee, which is great, but we don't want to do anything that has to be torn out. We do something better, and it seems like the big problem is excess speed, because 600 South is operating. So anything we can do to deal with 600 South as it crosses 500 East, I think would be very helpful in terms of, particularly if the goal is to reduce bicycle traffic, because intersections, one in the Bryant neighborhood and this one, and this one is so much worse. So, anyway, that's pretty much is that. Let's not spend any money that we have to undo,
Sure.
and we've got to do something, because every month there's an accident, a bad one.
Gotcha. My supervisor is in charge of all of the data and stuff. I'll give him the background request. One of the benefits of the road diet is that it creates fewer conflict points at the intersection, as you have fewer travel lanes. And then it also provides us the opportunity in the future to come through and make physical changes to the roadway, like pedestrian refuge items and things like that. I don't believe anything is currently planned, but just getting this striping reconfiguration laid out makes it easier for us to do that in the future.
Great,
So,
thank you.
but we'll look at that. Are there any other questions?
When you resurface, are you gonna like mill down the current asphalt levels?
No,
It's
it's
big
not a,
Yeah.
it is not a mill and fill. The idea is that it's just a new layer of surface and it prevents water intrusion. Because once cracks start developing in the roadway, water gets in there and freezing thaw cycles create potholes. And so this is designed to extend the lifespan of pavement, and then eventually we'll come in the future and do a full roadway reconstruction where we go down to the road base and rebuild the road. And then that provides the opportunity to make larger changes.
I have a question that
Can
came
I-
in.
quick point of clarification on that, that's a perfect answer. But just for those of you that drive down that road, you'll notice that there are some large potholes now that you have to be careful of. Where you put your tire. So what may end up happening is that our streets division may come out in the summertime and saw cut a bunch of the asphalt, put it in the asphalt. So you may see patches of brand new asphalt and then they'll put a slurry or the chip seal on top of it. So you may see some activity like that out there this summer, but it's not a full.
Do you have a drawing of cross section?
Yeah,
Yeah, I do
you
have
can
my-
share, you can turn that around. And then, sorry, I interrupted you, go on.
The pothole thing came up, I know there's a lot of potholes, this year, a lot of potholes, and I had a friend who didn't see one, and it was huge, and it blew out their whole tire. Is there, does the city take claims for, people if they have an issue like that, or is it just on you, and we have to pay for it if that's something that hasn't been?
I believe we have a process, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with what it is. It doesn't go through transportation or I don't know who to contact at the city, so I apologize, but I would try to contact somebody like at one of the general offices.
General office, they didn't have no idea what division or department, sorry, city.
You can take a note of that.
Yeah.
We'll get back.
That'd be great, so just, because that came up and it was like, you know, she had no way of saying it was huge, but it's, their tire was exploded, so.
Yeah, the streets division is gonna be doing a pothole event, can't say a whole lot about it, but if you follow us on the SLC numbers, you'll hear about it. So,
What's the bill? Or do you like?
yeah, I can send you all the contact. You'll follow up. See, I don't know why my coworker put a motorcycle with a sidecar to represent a vehicle.
So, did you look into parking protected bike lanes? Is that feasible here?
Is that where they're on the inside of the new park on the outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would, with Fifth East, being right there with Liberty Park, it would be very beneficial to do that as a protected bike lane, especially with all the traffic coming out of Liberty Park.
Yeah, so we have looked into this on other projects, like for example, we resurfaced Main Street, that was a big project last year. And one of the things that we found is that you need pretty good pavement quality near the gutter to have that parking protected bike lane. And if you have, currently we have like pretty sketchy pavement there and the deep gutters, and so you don't want the bicycles right next to this like steep drop off. And that's one of the reasons. Also, a lot of driveways create blind spots with the parked cars in the road. Sometimes people driving can't see the cyclists on the other side of the vehicles. So we do like them, but it's just, we have to, it's a situation by situation approach.
So 21st, like right there by South Jet Line over on the 90s area. Or there by that fire department, there's a sidewalk and then there's like another several that's just underneath the pipe.
Yep.
Is that, have you guys kind of looked into something like that?
That would be part of like a full reconstruction project, but we actually tear out the entire roadway. But that won't be part of this resurface project. Yeah, you can. Yes.
They're gonna get a lot worse with this one.
Yeah, so like I said, the streets is gonna be doing a whole thing about this next week. So just follow up on SLC news, but, on SLC mobile app.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's called the pothole, it's not public information.
Okay. So.
That's when we go to the meetings, it's stuff that's.
People that have to go on really explain it that they got.
Yeah, they're just gonna be spending an extra week focusing a lot of pothole repairs, because with the historic snow, you get water in the roadway and the freezing thaw cycles, that's what creates potholes.
Thank you.
One question, so when do you determine that a road needs to be fully rebuilt or milled versus just overlaid like this?
That's a great question, and our engineering division tracks the condition of the roadway. Every 5 years, they have this specialized truck that has like this equipment that I don't understand on it, that goes and does a survey of the road and tells you, gives you a number 0 to 100, called the overall condition index. We resurface roads anywhere in the 40 to 100 OCI range, and then once they're lower than 40, basically the only thing you can do is dig it out and reconstruct it. The ideal time to do these resurfacing projects is immediately after you build the road, which is kind of counterintuitive, but the quicker you can resurface it and seal the road, the longer that road's gonna last. And then once the road deteriorates to in the 40 range, the resurfacing project doesn't do a whole lot of life extension. But yeah, the engineering division takes care of that. And then one other point now, like Jeff mentioned, is when the summer before and in the spring before we do these resurfacing projects, the streets team will often come out, and if there's a roadway that's otherwise in good condition, but there's a specific part of this lane that's failing, or there's like some bumps in it and stuff like that, they'll go out and mill it or dig it out and refill it with asphalt and then seal it the following summer.
Sorry, two quick questions popped in my head. One is that I heard a roundabout might come on 5th East and 7th South. Are you guys planning for that in this project? That's what it looks like. Wasn't there like some sort of CIP funding dedicated to that roundabout?
Yes, I believe one of the transportation planners already has a design for it and everything, but I don't know the status of the project. So. Every roundabout we install, we always get a request for the tail of the event. I'm sure we'll have.
But can we see plans on that, get back on it?
Yeah, I'll have to talk with him and see where that project's at.
And do you know when that would be built?
I am not familiar, I'm not up to date on that one.
So that's not a part of this fit, these resurfacing. They'll come in afterwards. Yeah. Okay. And then the second question I had is, do you have like a pavement like resurfacing schedule map that, earlier in the year that we can see and then
Yes.
provide feedback?
That one's it's currently live on that webpage. Okay, I'll send you an email with all of this information in it.
Yeah, I have a question that would be like the lower cost type of thing. I'm just curious, like how well like the intersection of like in 7 South and the East, like the big intersection. Has there been like a study on how effective that is? And like follow up is, are there ever considerations of like kind of like lower cost, like installing, not there's like white things that get knocked in, there's ones that get drilled into the surface that are smaller but still offer some protection. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any planned improvements, Jeff. I think this is just a road diet for this project. I think the intersection you're referring to was part of the Life on State project. UDOT owns State Street and has been difficult to work with and getting bike lanes on that street. And so we've been doing everything we can to improve the streets that run parallel to it, like Main Street, Second, East and Third. Yeah. Yeah, and so that was part of those roadway reconfigurations where we have the parking protected bike lanes there, and we have that intersection that you're referring to, which is like this thermoplastic paint that typically lasts much longer than typical roadway paint. But we definitely will be making some future intersection upgrades like that.
So I'm not familiar with this, I know the intersection is paved, so what was that for, what was that whole thing about?
Yeah, it basically just brings more attention to vehicles, to make people more aware that people on bicycles and pedestrians in the area.
Okay, so it's experimental type thing to see how it works, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
They did come to the community council after they had decided they were gonna do it, matter of days before they did it. And it seemed to me it was a publicity stunt for the sponsor.
It
So-
was in collaboration from the scooter companies, I believe.
Right. Trying to be diplomatic. It's so, rare. But anyway, so, my personal opinion, I don't want to be protected by some sponsorship thing like that. And please come and tell the neighbors sooner than that price is good. I think it was already a done deal by the time.
Gotcha. Yeah, I assume that this was a way to get funding for this project. We have other intersections like that that are actually done with physical concrete rather than just paint, which is what we would like to do everywhere, but obviously don't have the money to do everywhere. For example, Second West, there's like on Third South, there are concrete medians in the road that really force drivers to look where they're going and see pedestrians that are crossing the street. When you do it with paint, it's less effective, but it just kind of brings attention to people crossing the street there.
There's a lot of pedestrian signals that they have to buy and. You can't be able to shift this.
It's like, it was like a scale green, that's why I assumed that it should have grown right away, because I know like, if you push a button, sometimes it waits for 40 seconds or after the signal to get the traffic through. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not the right person.
No, I know that about our signal timing. If there is a broken pedestrian push button, we can report that on the city mobile and our streets, and we'll get that out there as soon as possible.
Like, that. Yeah. What exactly?
Yeah. Without knowing the specific intersection and talking about signals guys, literally every intersection is timed in Salt Lake City. Because they have to work as a network, so anytime we change a single one, we have to consider what it's going to do with the rest of the signal network, so.
Okay. Who would I speak to regarding a dangerous intersection? It's right by Trolley Square. My friend lives over there and he's standing out there all the time. He says people are always almost hitting each other's way when they're going westbound on it's the one-way road that goes west. What is that? Yeah. So it's really bad. And I guess there's something with the light or how it's designed or something. People are always like going through it and they're almost hitting them. It's just a mess. So who can give feedback that on? If you want to speak
On 7th East is a UDOT road there, so I would contact UDOT. If you jump in here, if any of this.
Yeah, if it's you, I'll contact you.
I've worked for the city for 6 years. For like 6 months.
How do we get transportation departments to uniformly get rid of pedestrian bag buttons? Just respect pedestrians as opposed to transportation.
So we've got a lot of questions about the bag buttons, as you refer to them, and the leading pedestrian intervals, and we are implementing the leading pedestrian intervals where we can. They're not like a tool, they're a tool in the toolkit to improve pedestrian safety, and but our signal techs want to implement them wherever we can. And as for the pedestrian push buttons,
I know that downtown would probably be the first location that we're looking to do that. In fact, I believe a lot of the signals downtown are already, or at least during COVID, are already. Yeah, there's time for pedestrians, but you can always email transportation. I'm not sure of like the status and where we are on that.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next Cindy wants to talk about a zone change request for a house that's right by the River Park. So,
And this is a filler
10 to 15.
because of all the calculations, so, we have how much time? Where are we?
10. 10 good.
Yeah.
703.
Oh, yeah, well, it's, I'll pass these around, both directions. Start some of that. Got him, Randy, so this is a handout I did for immediate neighbors at the intersection of Fifth East and 900 South. So the intersection has Beans and Brew on the southwest corner, Liberty Park on the southeast corner. And it has Traditions and Belfast Meats on the northeast corner, and a big apartment complex on the northwest corner. So that's where we are. The proposal is to rezone and change the master plan for an early 20th century, so 120-year-old house. It's in a colonial revival style. It's eligible for tax credits. And it's in the historic district, so it's not threatened with demolition. It's largely intact. The brick has never been painted. The original columns are on the porch. It very desperately needs the wood to be painted. It's not been painted. According to the information I've gotten, the rear yard is being used for commercial parking. Sorry, I don't have a drawing. But the rear yard is being used for parking for the adjacent commercial, and the same person who owns the Belfast Meats and Tradition owns the house. So he wants to make a commercial use there. It went to the planning commission with an excellent, I thought, analysis of all the relevant plans. And the planner, after a very thorough analysis, came down saying that the house should remain a house. It was designed as a house, has always been used as a house, it's zoned for housing. And the planning commission, by one vote, decided that our neighborhood was not sufficiently walkable, that we needed another commercial use instead of a family housing use. So that's how it went to the city council. There was a noticing issue for the first hearing, the 21st of March. There was an extension of the public hearing until Tuesday night. That was the extraordinary. And there was also a new remote system. So the city switched from WebEx to Zoom. That was the first meeting. So if you're kind of thinking, there are all these things that sort of happened to get us where we are. The planning staff moved a report, the planning commission ignored it, and had the problem with the noticing, when the incorrect information was on the sign in front of the property. Then we had a storm when the hearing was extended. There were two people who managed to get online who gave up because there was so much commentary on Homeless Resource Center. So it's just been really frustrating. There's a lot of rental properties. I went out on Sunday and tried to get in some of the buildings that were secured. There are a couple of houses in my left library. So the issue is now that the council member for that area, District 4 shrank, as you may know, and District 5 moved further north. So this is now in District 5. Here now has decided that it's put an accessory dwelling unit in the rear to replace the loss of the house. But the rear is being used for parking. And the parking is a real problem. That's what people who did show up in the public there and talked about, is that the cutback parking to serve the restaurant, but there's just not enough parking. The bus stop got moved in front of the house. So at any rate, you can still comment to the city council, they read their mail and staff reads mail. My email is on there, even more. I have been following them since Central City was notified with the 45-day notice last year. So, it is at the sanitation. I expect the city council to make a decision at the next. They don't know, they just don't want to use housing, they want to do commercial use. And it's at the beginning of a long stretch of residential on 500 feet. So the residential starts right there and then it just continues up 500 feet. So it's a public residential area. And they keep asking for more family oriented housing units, but they're entertaining the law. So anyway, that's it. I'm happy to obviously talk about it some more. I think the city council is sick of hearing me talk about it. It's a fabulous little house and I rent people who caught ramen for years to live in the house. So that's right.
Yeah, well, the community councils can often issue statements or letters saying whether or not we support or rezone on this. I think a lot of us appreciate the mix of uses in the neighborhood, and that's why we live there. There's housing mixed in with shops, and the property owner has renovated the building that tradition is in, or the project meets it. So he brings in some cool tenants in there. So we might have mixed opinions in the council of we support that change, and we don't support that change.
Right, and I understand that. There's a member of the planning commission who was whining about driving to 15 to 15 to get dinner. That she happens to live on 11. Yeah. But at any rate, so at any rate, that's that and respond, but my business is to build housing and you know, I just see the pain. I haven't had a ton of need to buy a house for years. And that's painful because I have people that used to do.
Yeah.
So,
No one's building for sale housing or anything.
no,
It's all.
right, and this will never be replaced as a single family.
But it's being rented right now, and that's what the owner would continue to do if it was.
No, you don't live there. It's an employee. So at any rate, the only good thing I can say about what happened at this intersection is that we got the ordinance for parking changed. So you can't do this cut back parking and not provide parking anymore. And that was changed late last year after years of being in the process. So the cut back parking that's at the intersection needs to be allowed, and it's not allowed.
Does anyone else have opinions they want to share on that rezone or any desire to do a council statement? Or
Yeah.
So in our newsletter, we often include plan developments or rezone requests, and in there you can look at the project and then the person send an email to the council member.
They guys snuck in at the last minute, so I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. Or I'm Emily Hudson, and I had said yeah, and so they canceled today. Yes. But we still want to come and meet everybody. Awesome. Yeah, okay. I started a community council meeting in Sugar House for their department.
where the Avalon used to be?
It used to be the Roosevelt,
Oh, okay.
it went down in 1990.
I think the name was the Avalon, so it's. All right. But no.
Okay, so we want to propose something for that block. When we saw their plans for that block. The units pointed at this. Perhaps protesting immediately.
Where is this located? Where's this located?
So the development proposal is third east and it's between fourth south and third south.
Okay.
And it's like a 12-story apartment building with a little retail on one.
And they own two of the parcels. The addresses are 320 and 330.
Directly north of Moffett. Between Moffett.
Is, we're talking about the one that's proposed
Oh, yeah,
here, the one that faces it.
So how far along are you guys in finding a proposal?
I'm just very, very close to the drawings to turn into 13.
Wow.
And what, like, more or less, what's the idea?
Mixed use with 3 stories of commercial at the ground floor. And pedestrian walkways either side so that you can see all the commercial along length of the small lot. It's 330 feet. So we want to make a connection to the block from Moffett Court. We join up with Moffett Court and you could cut through the block, which you already can right now. We want to preserve that. And then have, going to propose a hotel above. And we are not zoning that, so it's, we're zoned for mixed use stuff. We'll see what the city says. This one is at the end of Moffett Court. It faces Broadway, next to the huge. It's right now on Diamond Park.
Yeah. If you guys, have you guys present soon? Bring your drawings and stuff, we get hooked up to.
And so right now we're just starting to talk to Aaron and trying to see who's within so that when we go to the city, we have more support. It's residential mixed use.
So RMU.
And we're in that area that can go 125 feet, just like from
Yeah. That one is completely wall in. The Samson Alphabet concept.
from the west. Well, yeah, and we're trying to follow open on the first 3 stories of the ground, or walk through on the east and west.
Yeah.
We do the parking lot that is owned by Adjourn. Yeah, between the both red historic apartment buildings on the corner there.
Yeah, that's the Samson Alphabet.
There's a spot between ours and those. It's owned by the security.
That's where the Avalon is.
Parking lot.
Yes, is that where the Avalon used to be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hopefully we can hear from you guys soon, and bring some drawings.
So I think it's that.
That's the maps of this.
Yeah.
If I think it's that, I would have this brother would have been.
Oh, yeah, you would
Bill,
to meet us and show us what we were even like. Getting on the ground.
well, let's move on to the last agenda item we have. That's it's about the Seven Canyons Fountain. You guys probably saw the news about it. So the summary is that Seven Canyons Fountain is at Liberty Park. You might have seen it working or not working, but it was an art piece designed to reflect the Seven Canyons in the Salt Lake Valley and the creeks that flow through them. And so at one point there was water flowing through all of those, and children like to play in the fountain. They had to shut it down for different health reasons, but it's been shut down for at least 5 years now. 2016. And the city's been doing studies to figure out what should we do with this, what do people want us to do with it? And, this last week, they came out with a statement saying that the city wants to. Well, they said it'd be too expensive to fix it. They said it costs between $2 and $4 million to get the water flowing through it again. And that what they want to do instead is make it a dry art feature. So they like paint it, they put different concrete coatings, but water would not flow through it. It would just be something to look at, basically. So the council could have a reaction to that if you want to, send a letter, we could say, you know, there's money from the fall line that's gonna go towards fixing the children's playground at Liberty Park, which is, I don't know, to me it seems fine, maybe a good upgrade, I don't know. But maybe we could recommend shifting some of that money to bring water flowing back through there, if we wanna do that. Yeah, it's 21, I think it's 21,000 gallons a day.
Very high. This costs. You know, this, very different.
Yeah, well, that is true, water, you take a lot.
For people using it or doing bad things in it, so the health hazard, like, with it, the purification.
The purification because of the use was a big part of the cost. My understanding of shutting it down was that they couldn't meet the health standards. You can check it. Yeah, but that was my understanding. That's the obstacle is the water treatment. And once you have people going in it, the water treatment becomes much more complicated than if it's just flowing fast. So I don't know, just
This is something we feel strongly about, I think that propose something.
So I think it's a really awesome feature, and I was very sad that it got shut down. And I have a friend who's a art designer, so I went in with Blue Line Design. And I said, you know, what can be done here, you know? And he's, you know, unfortunately, he gave me kind of like a sad tale on it. I'm hoping there's still, you know, that it could still be kind of resurrected, but he was saying that that there was a lot of code violations with structure itself and everything, and how they were to design something, and they had to design something with modern code and everything, they couldn't do anything like this, which was a big letdown to me. So
I read that as well, for like safety,
safety violations. Well, kids, it was kind of like where kids could climb up. In certain, yeah.
There's things you hop around on narrow stairs.
Yeah, and so there's certain things there which they consider to be safe features. That was part of it. I've been hopeful on it, but he didn't sound too optimistic. But I might be able to get some ideas from see if he has any update.
I don't know if you can
yeah, they do have a spot between the toddler and the vision.
It's something, you know, to the architecture of the buildings.
Better than, you know, wasting money. There's something that has a lower, cost. You know.
And part of the issue too is from the quality of the water. Yeah.
But yeah, I agree, I think the amount of water. I love it. A little bit.
Just like send through less water.
Have to be raising at least some visual feature, but not, scroll like that. There's also a lot of something like that, or it could be more creative. Make it fun, interesting.
Right?
Yeah, I'm just like.
Cool like that.
So, if you look to the south, at the very end of 7 games, it turns into a feature that looks just like it would be the Great Salt Lake. Meaning that all the creeks are gonna fall over into the Salt Lake. So that's one of the main health concerns, is it's not made to be a pool. And it's mainly that it was mainly spring water. And just kind of like filtered water coming down to the canyons, at that little inland park. We had dogs playing in it. Dogs, E. coli, a bunch of other health concerns. And so there is, like, I would love to see it come back. I would totally love to see it come back. But in order for them to bring it back, they need to, one of the things they need is a high amount of chlorine.
And there's a reason for that, like a dog reason.
Yeah, but they also are looking at how can you make it eco friendly? Because it's in the middle of the park, it's not contained by the pool. And so there's a bunch of different concerns on this, and if we do bring in the chlorine, we're gonna need to be contained. But if we keep it like it is, it's gonna have all these other health concerns. So it really is a big concern, and the city does want to bring it back, but at the same time, they're also fighting on the inner side. What do we do?
Like something's gonna be water.
It's a big conflict. On the interpersonal, like what do we do type deal to please everyone. So it's like, so I said, I really wanted to come back. It was a great feature, but like kids and animals will get sick, and we don't want that.
We're not having a garden, like a grass in it, with big flowers in it or something, like in the, I'm getting.
I think I can, yeah.
Colors. Things about it.
They simulate water in some kind of plant.
Yeah, plant life, towards color patterns, things like that. So inside it, I'm not necessarily.
I think what we might do is.
Purple, blue, purple, on they go, red top.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that running. I've just seen
So
it.
it runs, it's just, is it like 2 waterfalls?
Yeah, and that's like,
Yeah.
I assume it's water conscious, but it's something that's like an hardscape where you don't, it's not accessible. Nice.
Yeah.
It's not like.
No, it's kind of like, it's
Well, never hear you say.
yeah, it's not, so this one does run here in the library, just during the summer. But
I've never seen it.
it's the one that he's speaking about, is just like the one here at the library.
And it actually runs.
Yeah,
It was, yeah. I think so.
There's 3 2.
I'm not sure, but there is a nice tree, like spot you could sit by it, so, but it's literally being watered down, that's all.
Well, we might reach out to the chairs of the East Liberty Park and Liberty Wallace Council and see if they can. Just have a discussion. But, okay, any last comments or updates before we end?
And we have another grant.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think that was those,
Any other updates? Just
um,
like 2 minutes. 1
yeah,
minute.
so I work down in this area with the homeless quite often. There's an organization called Nomad Alliance. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen a big blue bus,
That was from your city, when you came here the first time.
a big blue bus that has like a DJ group on it, kind of roaming around town. They, right now they're using it as a warming bus to help the unsheltered. And keep warm, especially with these last couple snowstorms that we've had, which were totally unexpected. If you guys, they're looking for wood, if there is a wood stove on it. They're looking for wood, they're looking for if any type of donation that people can offer. Just to kind of help people stay warm. Even like a place to kind of park the bus so that they don't get bothered.
Is it regulated in any way, or is the city like, no, you can't have this in this road or?
It is, so the city just really doesn't, it's just like a really.
You're not usually with it. You're not like, this is like, it could catch on fire, or like.
Well, so over like on 8th East or somewhere, there's like over by Hildegard's actually, there's only a church. They parked it in their parking lot. The neighbors in that area got all bugged out and called PD. PD got involved, so then they had to move. Fire department got called because of the wood stove, saying it's gonna get caught on fire.
Has the fire department like checked this thing out in the bus and said that they'll get their standing people or not?
So the fire department really hasn't been involved. The city hasn't gotten involved either.
There's no standard for that.
No.
Oh, there's no like the protocol for it or like
No.
on paper, so it's just like, okay. So they don't have like a license. Just kind of like.
So what they're gonna do once the winter officially ends and stops snowing. The president of Nomad Alliance is going to turn into a mobile Wi-Fi cafe. And internet cafes that help to provide services so that the homeless can get their IDs, get jobs. And it's gonna go all over the county. Yeah, yeah.
So they need wood? or-
Yeah, what is their main thing right
Is there liability if someone donates wood, or is it just like?
now? Okay, so, you guys can reach out to me, my email is on the sign sheet. Or do the newsletter. If you guys can just put that in the newsletter. Yeah.
If they need wood.
Yeah, if they need wood, I can reach out. I'm always in contact with them. I actually spent 16 days on that bus, making sure people were staying safe and doing what I could to help them out.
Can you
It's
remind me
amazing.
your name, sorry,
Well,
or your last name?
I think HDI.
It's not listed. Yeah, it's like-
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's 7:30. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. We'll have more next time. Probably. Yeah.
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 I think the population. Little one. Yeah, yeah. Well. Yeah. And then, and then